Mic check 1 2 1 2 Panthers Nation. What up, though? It's Aaron Duncan here, and we are ahead of this Week 9 matchup against the defending AFC champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Carolina Panthers will travel to Cincinnati. It's a short week for the Bengals as they got smacked around on Monday Night Football, and they're going to be licking their wounds a little bit. But in this video today, we're going to be talking about the injury report for the Panthers ahead of this game. Yes, we're banged up. We're about halfway through the season, so you know the injuries are starting to set in for the squad. So we got to evaluate who's in and who's out. So let's go ahead and get into it because to the Thursday's practice, it's one of the major practices of the day. Obviously, there'll be an immediate opportunity on Friday ahead of the game, but Steve Wilks will give a little bit more insight, but he's not very forthcoming with information. You got to kind of piece stuff together based off of the media and what you saw in the game and certain reports here and there. But for the DNP list, the did not participate list today in practice, we'll start from the top. Rashard Higgins has an illness. It's not COVID related, so thank God. But we haven't really heard anything about what exactly it is. Is it stomach flu? Is it, who knows what it is? I don't want to speculate, but it's not COVID related, so that's something you don't have to worry about as far as the spreading on the team. Next as well is Stephen Sullivan. He also has an illness. Now, I'm a little bit head scratcher on this one because he played Sunday, of course, and there's not really a lot of insight on what the illness was for him as well. He had that big-time catch, obviously, Sunday. His athleticism and size is something that I hope we take advantage of more often as we proceed through this year. I love the skill set that he has, and he just needs more opportunity and more targets, so we'll see what happens. But he missed an illness today. We'll see what happens ahead of the game and if they make the trip, depending on how sick or whatever they feel, because I assume the Panthers will probably leave about Saturday. So if guys aren't active or they don't think they're going to have a chance to play, they won't fly on the plane. That's just kind of the way it is when it comes to those game day rosters. Keeping it moving to some of the simple ones. Taylor Moton was out today. He had a baseball cap on. Just a vet rest day for him. I've had my speculations about him having a knee injury. He has not had a great year overall, up to his standards at least. I don't want to question his heart. I don't want to say anything about he got paid and hasn't done anything. Taylor Moton doesn't seem like that type of guy. I honestly think there is something wrong with him. I'm not sure what, but he's just not moving well. But today was a rest day for him. He'll be fine, it seems like, for the game coming up. Now the people who are in jeopardy a little bit. Justin Burris, who's got a concussion right now, is in the protocol. We'll be looking to hopefully have him, obviously, with Jeremy Chin still out. That combination of Xavier Woods and Justin Burris with a lot of experience would be something that I want to look at, and hopefully they can help out in their rotation. If not, Miles Hartsfield, who plays the nickel, who can play some safety, being he's a little bit heavier in that aspect. He's not that tall, but he's a little bit heavier in that aspect. He will be needed in that middle of the field against Hayden Hurst, the tight end, who's kind of been coming on a little bit for the Bengals. But Miles Hartsfield will be looking to step in that spot. But we'll pay attention to how Justin Burris progresses in the concussion protocol ahead of this game coming up. Donte Jackson. He seems like Donte's on this injury report every week. He's dealing with that ankle injury. He's had the groin and obviously hamstring and stuff in the past. He seems to be up and down on a week-to-week basis. He left the game on a cart. That was kind of scary, but I think he'll be fine, hopefully, at least to play for the game. I think this will just be the norm for him. He'll get banged up during the game. He'll go out at some point. Maybe he'll come back in at a later point, but he'll be trying to play at week-to-week basis. It's all about managing your pain up until we get to the bye week. Obviously, we have this short week coming up on Thursday, then the mini 10-day bye, but we also still have another, week or so after that before we get to our week 13 bye week. So these are type of injuries that can linger around, obviously soft tissue and ankle injuries. They don't get better unless you rest and do some rehab to strengthen it up. So we'll see what Donte has at the starting lineup. Obviously, without Jamar Chase, the Bengals will be having T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, two taller wide receivers who are a lot stronger. And who knows? They could probably give a guy like Donte some trouble anyway. So we have to look for JC, obviously, Keith Taylor, and C.J. Henderson, who are some big-bodied corners, who I think may be a better matchup anyway for the likes of these Bengals wide receivers. So pay attention there. Let's talk about the limited participants. Let's keep it going with J.C. Horn with that ankle. We know he's had the hip issue, obviously, as well, from that had him out for a couple games. He came back, his ankle popped up. I think he should be fine. It was a limited participant, which is always good, just kind of resting and being cautious. Maybe he'll be a game-time decision. It depends on how he feels, but he will definitely be needed. Like I said, for the same reason I talked about Donte, JC will be needed. They got some huge receivers. Joe Burrow's going to take his shots because he gets rid of the ball quick, but even though he gets sacked a lot, he loves to give his guys a chance, so we're going to need all hands on deck when it comes to the secondary. Chuba Hubbard. He's obviously been dealing with the ankle as well after that injury he suffered late in that Bucks game. We were running out the clock. I would be, if he can, he's a limited participant, so that's a good progress, but we just don't know. I expect Chuba to be a game time decision yet again. If not, they obviously have Blackshear and Spencer Brown, who they kept last week. They got a lot of action. Spencer Brown got a lot more action than Blackshear, believe it or not. But I think Chuba is a good change of pace for Donte Foreman. Foreman has been cranking up. He should have fresh legs because he didn't get much work earlier in the year, but you still want to make sure he's there for that back stretch because he's starting to become a key part of our offense, and he has that heavy hitting hammer that can kind of wear defenses down, but it worked great against Tampa because the change of pace was Chuba Hubbard coming in as a little scat back hitting holes. He's gotten a lot better from his rookie year. I showed you guys the film. If you're not biased and just hate Chuba Hubbard, you can see it with your own eyes. Like I said, I gave you video evidence of that. Nevertheless, I think Chuba will be a good addition if he can return back in any capacity just because of the speed and change of pace that he will offer to give Foreman a break or give Foreman a spell Foreman on certain downs and distances depending on the scenario. And last but not least, the limited participant was Amari Barno. I know we've been trying to beg to get him on the field. He's got limited snaps. Rushing the passer in certain scenarios, depending on who's injured, who's up and down. Nothing to really pay attention to the point that you would notice, but I've been noticing on film. He's gotten a play or two ever so often, but he is a big special teams player because he's huge, and he has that 4.38 speed. A D, and they can run that fast. You put him on special teams that will run downfield. The likes of him and Brandon Smith are type of athletes. I would love to get him involved in the game plan more, but obviously as a special teams player, he is needed still there as well. He has a role, so he was limited today with that knee injury. Full participants today were Frankie Louisville with the shoulder. He's going to be working on that shoulder pretty much all year. He wears that black KT tape. He hurt it against the Cardinals, I think, when he sacked the Kyler Murray. So he'll be probably nursing that the rest of the year. It's just something he's going to have to deal with as a linebacker. It's going to suck because you use your shoulder pads so much. You take on blocks. You get off blocks. He rushes the passer. We know this guy has reckless abandon. He doesn't really care about his body when it comes to making plays and playing football. He just lays it all on the line. So that'll be something to pay attention to because he only knows how to play one speed. So you gotta be concerned about the re-injury factor with Louisville, but it was a full participant in today's practice. Donte Foreman returned to practice as a full participant when he was resting on Wednesday. It seems like since he's going to be the guy carrying the mail, whoever's the running back in the system is going to get the Christian McCaffrey treatment. Yes, going to have Wednesdays off, guys. It's just the way it is, so don't be alarmed. But they just put him on his rest. No particular body part is hurt. We need the big man fresh and be able to go good. He's gone from really no workload to a heavy workload. You want to make sure he stays fresh for that back stretch because this 100-yard game with 3 touchdowns was huge, but we've seen he's going to be a focal point of our offense going forward, just like Christian McCaffrey was, not in that same capacity as far as catching passes, but as far as being dependent on a lot with the running game, especially with a backup quarterback like P.J. Walker. You definitely want to stay balanced, run the ball, manage the clock, make sure the defense stays fresh. So Foreman just had a rest day. He'll be fine. Sam Franklin III had an illness, but he returned to practice as a full participant. He's a key special teams player. He's our gunner on a punt team. He's a gunner on kickoff as well. He'll maybe in the rotation of safety. I doubt it. I think they prefer Sean Chandler over him in terms of the safety rotation if Justin Burris is to get hurt. Nevertheless, Sam Franklin has a role on this team as a special teams guy. So he had an illness, so he'll be fine. So a pretty long, lengthy list. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys on this list. 2 of them are rest, of course. We'll see what happens. Something to pay attention to. That Friday injury report is the last one we'll get until the inactive report on Sunday. Obviously, we'll get some rumors and stuff from Adam Schefter early in the morning on Sunday. But until then, today and Fridays are kind of the big injury report. So pay attention going ahead, guys. You let me know down below in the comments if you're concerned about anybody or whatever. Please hit the subscribe button down below if you have not. And make sure you hit the bell icon that says all. That way you can get a notification when I go live and do stuff like that and drop videos. Nevertheless, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.